Good morning. Happy Friday. We're just giggling over here
It's
because Mark,
Friday.
it's been like one dig after another.
It's hilarious because it's not about me right now.
I know. I just started ignoring it. I put on my headphones. I turned the sound up, and what was that insult you said? I didn't hear it.
I was in for it.
Sorry. Well, good snarky Friday morning, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm Nicole Fowles, Communications Coordinator for the Delaware County District Library. That's the other voice, Molly Meyers-Labadie, that you hear, our
And I
Deputy
came
Director.
with coffee.
I know. I didn't have coffee this morning.
No.
I'm going to have to stop and get some. Gage on the board. Good morning, Gage.
Good morning.
And our wonderful guest this morning is Mr. Brian Fox. I said, how do I introduce you, Brian? And he said, just Dungeon Master, which I really, really love. So YMCA, Strengthening Families, the Library, Great GeekFest. Good morning, Brian.
Hi, Nicole. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad to have you here this morning. If you're wondering what in the world a Dungeon Master is, stay tuned for the second half of the show.
Yes.
And you will learn all about the Dungeon Master job for Dungeons and Dragons.
It's a very important role in our society, in my opinion. So
Probably very vastly underrated.
Yes, very much so. I'm going to be asking you some questions.
Thank you. Yes. Executive level.
Can you explain my husband?
No. We don't have enough time. We have no time.
This is a part of him, and I'm not very good at it.
What
So
is
many
his
questions. Yeah, I could text.
You guys, this is we're gonna go off the rails.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah, I know.
I can't wait.
Well, we will start, as we always do, with a little bit of book talk.
Yes.
Or you had something else this
I
morning.
have something a little different.
What do you have?
I have a TV show.
Okay.
So, you're going to all kind of believe why I'm picking this one when I'm done. There is a Canadian TV show that I stumbled upon on Hoopla a few years ago.
Uh-huh.
So remember, Hoopla is not just books and comic books and audiobooks. It is also TV shows. This is a Canadian mystery set in the 1800s. And the main character is very Sherlock Holmesy. His name is Murdoch, so it's called the Murdoch Mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
What I love about it is its science and its history. There's a female mortician in the county who's doing all of, the helping him discover how people were murdered. You've got the funny little characters that follow him around. They're like the naive police officers. It's getting a little bit into Canadian society, of course, American society. It's just fun. There's romance between him and the woman working in the morgue. There's, but not straight out. It's very much cozy mystery.
Nice.
It's cozy mystery on TV, y'all. So if you love my
And
cozy
Canadian,
mystery
yeah.
and Canadian, which is extra fun. I don't think he's wearing eyeliner, but that is a question I have every time.
Oh.
He's just got these great black eyelashes, and you're like, are you wearing eyeliner?
Yeah, that
Is this
doesn't
like
really
the
track
cure
with,
in
like,
the 1800s?
Yeah.
But it is just a really fun show. You really like the characters. They're not perfect, any of them. Really just kind of pulls you in. It's got like 9 seasons. It's got Christmas specials. You can just get lost in this one for a while. I will not say this is going to be like a serious true crime. Like
Right.
what Lloyd and I are watching is like true crime. Not here at all. You're going to laugh at some of it. It's ridiculous. You meet Tesla, you meet Arthur Conan Doyle,
That's
like
fun.
people who pop in and out. You're like, I know you from things. My car is because of you. So like, my car is not because of Tesla.
Not your car.
That is not my car. But it's a riot. Just go for it. It's going to be one of those you can just like binge watch seasons. Get lost in it. Murdoch Mysteries.
The Murdoch
Use Hoopla.
Mysteries. Have you watched like all of the episodes on Hoopla, or have you found it on other
I
streaming
have found it on
platforms?
other streaming platforms as well, but you can get almost all of them on Hoopla. Weird thing though, and it's probably how I'm spelling mysteries, I'm now thinking, when I type in Murdoch, it comes up easier if I add Murdoch Mysteries or click when it says Murdoch Mysteries. They don't all come up. So just write Murdoch in your search terms
You'll get there.
and you'll get all those seasons. And it's absolutely worth a borrows.
That's nice. Yeah, on Hoopla, right? So if you're unfamiliar with the app, Hoopla is free with your library card. It's an app. You can install it on your TV, so you could actually watch these TV shows.
If you have a Roku,
Yeah.
which is what I've been doing, you can just put it right through your Roku.
Yeah.
But I think the newest season I am going to be watching on Hulu or something.
Right,
So
another streaming platform. But it's really nice. It's free with your library card, and you get all of your borrows right now. There's no waiting. And so the trade-off for getting the borrows right now is you have a limited number of borrows that you get per month. And so does it do like one borrow per episode? Is that kind of how it works? Okay.
But you do need to sleep and eat and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice to have something.
out.
Hoopla's kind of making my binge watching a little healthier.
That's
You
nice.
know, so let's just call it Hoopla, making us healthier
Making
while
us
we binge watch
healthier. Exactly. So much fun.
with our hot cocoa. So healthy.
Well, Brian, you said that you do a lot of reading for work, but then you can add in a little bit of leisure reading sometimes. But you had one that kind of crossed over. It was work related, but also fun.
Yeah, so with work, I do a little bit of a grief program. It's a 6-week thing, and it mixes different topics. Some of it's existentialist philosophy, some of it is spirituality, some of it is just out there art history. Can be dry stuff. So recently I mixed it up with the Tao of Wu, the Wu-Tang Clan. It was kind of fun to have a segment like, who said it? Socrates or Ghostface Killer. It was keeping my folks on my toes,
That sounds like a lot of fun.
That is the best.
The Tao of Wu by the Wu-Tang Clan. Yes, modern day philosophy at its best.
Yes. I feel like I have many Gen Xers who I now may start a book club with.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good time. I recently got an audiobook. I'm going to be reading some audiobooks that are for younger audience, or I'm going to be reading, listening to some audiobooks that are going to be based for younger audiences. I've been driving around a lot with my girls. They are 5 and 9. And so I've been wanting to have things that they can listen to while I'm in the car. A lot of times if my husband and I are going to like the same place, but I have to arrive at one time and he has to arrive at different times, or we have to leave separately, one of us will take the girls with us. And if I'm listening to certain audiobooks, I'll be like, husband, you got to take the girls because mine has bad words,
They are the do not listen to with your windows down in the summer books.
Exactly.
No, I get it.
But I was like, no, I need some ones that my girls can hang along with. So I picked up Big Tree. It's by Brian Selznick. If that name sounds familiar, you know him
Love
from
him.
Hugo Cabret.
Which was a game-changing book in the juvenile world.
Caldecott medalist, The Invention of Hugo Cabret. It's a graphic novel. But it's really more than a graphic novel. It was also made into a movie. And so what Brian Selznick does with his stories a lot is he has excellent storytelling, and then the pictures kind of add to it. He doesn't usually
if you
use
took
the pictures
them
to tell
out,
the story. Right.
the story actually wouldn't read. One of the interesting things is it's a chapter book. It's a juvenile fiction chapter book, but it won the Caldecott for illustration.
Yeah.
One of the rules to win the Caldecott is that the pictures have to be a part of the book. So if you took the pictures out, the story wouldn't work. If you took the words out, the story wouldn't work.
So I think Big Tree actually is the inverse of that. And here's why I will set that argument. Because Big Tree, I only listened to it. I knew nothing of the actual book itself. I hadn't checked out the book. I hadn't seen the book. I just went ahead and I got the audiobook. 2.5 hours. It is the story of 2 seedlings of a sycamore tree. And a sycamore tree has their seedlings in pods. And whenever the tree releases the pods, they break open and the seedlings float out. And it's like any other seedling, like when you blow a dandelion fluff, the seed is on the bottom. It has a little like part that attaches. I'm not technical at all. The part that attaches them and then fluff on the end. And
I think fluff is the technical term.
Fluff is how they describe it in the book, so I'm going to go with it. And so these 2 seedlings are part of their mama sycamore tree, but some crazy things are happening. They're kind of in a forest. There seems to be some sort of stampede happening in the forest. And the ambassadors, which are the fungi of the forest,
The fun guys.
they have come to say that something big is happening, and they really need to prepare for it. The seedlings they depart from their mama tree, and the story is how mama has taught them that they need to find good soil to land in, with water to grow, and sun to be strong. And so they're looking for these three things, and they land maybe on the back of a turtle, and they land on a shell, and they land on a rocky cavern. And so they're trying to find where they land. You only know this from the perspective of the seed, and what I appreciate is that they can't see everything, and so they keep talking about these giants, and I'm like, is this magical realism? Like, where are we with these giants? Or is this fantasy? We actually learn later in the book that we're living in the period of the dinosaurs, and so there actually are dinosaurs. And we learn even further beyond that the seedlings are they're very in tune with nature. They are nature. And so they keep getting this message that something big is going to happen. So they need to take root and grow strong to prepare for this big thing that's going to happen, which is the asteroid that ends the dinosaurs. And so it's a fun story, but here's why I'm going to argue that.
Yeah, because I'm picturing his pencil illustrations as you are talking.
Right. The audiobook is voiced by Meryl Streep. She does an incredible job.
Well, that's not fair.
Yeah. She does an absolutely incredible job with a wide cast of characters who we are introduced to throughout the course of the book. I was like, okay, I want to see what this looks like. I want to see what I'm missing out on the page. I get the physical book. It is massive. Yes. It is like, so imagine a child's chapter book and then times 3. That's how thick this book is. Mm-hmm. My kids would never pick that up.
All of his look like this.
They would have been so intimidated. Had I told them, like, let's go get the book, they would have been like, no, not at all. No way, no how, not at all. And though the chapters are in little chunks, like, there might be only one paragraph on a page. There are about 4 pages of pencil illustrations in between. I think that would be helpful, but I think the sheer size of the book would be incredibly intimidating for my reluctant reader, 3rd grader. So here's why I'm going to have the argument that I think that the audiobook is a standalone, because I took one look at the physical book and I was like, no, thank you.
And there are some kids, though, that are reluctant readers that when you open the book up and you just show them how little text is in it, and you're like, and you can show off how quickly you're reading
They might be like, oh, yeah, I can do this.
You just need a children's librarian selling it for you.
I know. But my girls were all in. Like, whenever we had to stop the car and I had to go along and, be like, okay, we got to stop this story. Like, when we got back in the car, they were like, what's Merwin doing now? The one seed's name. What's Louise? Did Louise get off the back of the turtle? Like, they were very excited to go along with the story. So that is The Big Tree by Brian Selznick. And with that, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back on the other half. We're going to talk with Brian Fox about
so excited.
Dungeons and Dragons. Welcome back. We're so happy to have you. Again, Nicole and Molly, Gage on the board. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
And our wonderful guest this morning, Brian Fox, Dungeon Master.
Hello. Thank you for that. All right.
Absolutely. We were just nerding out over the break about Meryl Streep and, of course,
Meryl Streep.
I'm jealous of her skill as a part of a Dungeon Master. You have to make your own voices for all the characters.
Yes.
And,
really?
I feel like she would be a good narrator. My kid, he's 4, and we picked up an audiobook with Gwyneth Paltrow did like Eric Carle. The little bear voices and things, and it was just like, she didn't bring it. I feel like Meryl Streep would bring it.
Yes.
And it was like, she's gonna cash this check and make soap that gives people MRSA. And it felt icky. So
shade to Gwyneth, but Meryl gets it. Yeah. That is yes. Meryl did bring it, and I was describing just the breadth of the characters. She has them in very high voices, but then also does very low voices, and she's
so cute.
It's so good. It's very so.
And when I do voices, I can't remember what the voices I did for different things. I'd make a horrible audiobook recorder.
That's kind of what I think too. Like I often wonder when I'm listening to audiobooks and people have such unique voices. Like, do they have to stay in one character and just record that one character like all in a row and then like pencil in the other parts? Yeah.
Lloyd says anytime I try to do an accent, it just ends up as a twang anyway. So I can do one accent. He's like, you've got one. It's Appalachian and you're done. It's West Virginia Appalachian and you're done.
Oh, that's it. No breath.
No breath.
Well, Brian, I love the tease that you gave in to talk about when you are a dungeon master, how you have to use multiple voices. We're going to do like a hot 101 of Dungeons and Dragons for our listeners who hear us talk about it all the time and are like, what in the world?
And I'm now going to understand things my husband is saying to me.
So can you give that 101, like 1 minute synopsis?
Yeah, all right, let's try. So it's really just telling a fun story with your friends.
That's even better. Oh my God, that was like 5 words.
Kind of it.
With dice.
With dice, yeah. The dice are important, but how much of a force of personality you are at the table impacts your chances of success or failure.
Okay.
If everyone's got their own skills, some people are fast, some people are quick, some people are careful, and not everyone can be all those things at once. So you've got teammates who are. Depending on the circumstances that you put yourself in, you might be asked to talk your way out of a trap, or you might be asked to strike down an evil bugbear or something like that. And if you're not the right person for the job, then maybe your friend at the table is. We're telling a story though, and stories need to have conflict. I forbid evil characters at my table. There's ways to have conflict without being evil.
Okay.
So that's something that we try to workshop.
So yeah, it's like it's a game, but not as most people would think about a traditional board game. We call it a role playing game.
Yes.
So you arrive at the table where everybody is playing. About how many people is best?
7 is max. Anything more, it kind of breaks down.
Okay.
And my group is middle schoolers, so 5 is kind of the sweet spot.
Yeah. And so then the 5 folks arrive to the table. We have the players, and then we have the dungeon master. We all have characters and that we've created, right? And the characters that we've created have strengths. Do I get to determine that, or how do we determine that?
Yeah, different people do different things. We like to keep it fair, so everyone gets the same numbers, but they can plug them into 6 different ways. And,
okay. And that's where the dice come in.
Pretty much, yeah. If you think about a person, they're all so strong, they're all so quick, they're all so intelligent, they're all so smooth. So you get to kind of pick what your character's strengths are.
Oh, mine's a cat. I'm a cat.
Oh, I see. So I can have like on a scale of 1 to 6, I can have like a level 6 intelligence, but maybe like a level 1 strength. That's kind of my trade-off. Like I might be super smart, but kind of weak.
And you're a part of a team, right? So what are like the different types of roles that you can play?
Yeah. So what I like to tell the kids is, because it's a game, there's a way to lose, and you lose by losing all your health points, hit points, HP. If you are imagining a medieval world and the typical denizens are all peasants, they have like 2 hit points at max. That vaccines haven't been invented. It's just diarrhea everywhere. It's just a bad time.
Yes.
But at level 1, these heroes, they start out with like at least 10 HP. Automatically, they're superhuman, even though the biggest threats in the game could squish them. But compared to a commoner, like a single flaming hot Cheeto could kill them. But like these guys, they're already huge. So with that, you just kind of go from there. You pick your 12 classes. Some are strong like a barbarian. Some are magical like a warlock. Some are quick like a rogue. And they all do different things, and you get to kind of decide.
Yeah, Molly, you said you're a cat.
I'm a cat.
I tried to make a character once, and I think I was an elf of some kind.
My cat, I think, is called a paladin. Does that sound right? Or something to that point?
Favorite.
Yeah.
It's typically cliche, the rigid person. I don't know. I like to play it just because I'm not the most organized fellow. So it's kind of fun to play someone who's not you.
Yeah.
It's also fun to play someone who is you, though. You get to decide.
I know.
Sure,
and my cat had a bag of kittens. And weirdly, that ended up being really important in the campaign I was in. And it was one of the most amazing things because everybody's like, what are you going to do with a bag of kittens? I was like, I don't know, but I'm going to use them.
So let's talk about the word you just used, campaign.
Campaign, good call.
So a campaign, is that like one sitting of playing the game, or how do you describe a campaign?
Well, it's best to figure that out as a group before you sit down to it, because there's a ton of ways you could. You could say we're going to have 3 sessions and that's it. That's when the campaign is over. You could say we're going to have this party goes till ?
Okay.
And just go from there. You could supplement it with all this pre-written stuff because D&D is licensed by a company and there's a lot of third-party adventurers doing stuff too. Or you could make it up just from your own sense of whimsy and imagination.
Yeah. So when we have a Dungeons and Dragons group that meets at the Delaware Library, they rotate their locations. I imagine it's probably the same kids who are coming. They're long gatherings. We do it specifically on Saturdays after hours. The one that's coming up most quickly is Saturday, January 27th. It's going to be at the Delaware Main Library from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock. And it's going to have... we do ask kids to pre-register for it, just because, like you said, there is some, if too many people makes it too difficult to really
make sure
tell
you
the
got enough
story.
to be the dungeon masters, right?
And we do this once a month. So is it easy for kids to I got to miss March because of whatever? How does that work out?
Yeah, so it's there's so much stuff for kids to do right now. I think with COVID, everything's picking back up. We kind of took a hit for a while. We are just now getting back to the point where we are, running multiple tables. We had a wait list last time. It was awesome over at Willis. But so far, I've got a group that meets Wednesdays right now. We're going to start back up. We actually had a really cool family session, like a season finale for Saturday. Multiple tables working, competing, or cooperating against one another. Kind of a weird way to play D&D. It was almost like a summer camp, capture the flag kind of thing.
Oh, fun.
I love it.
So...
Ewan, the high elfin,
Yes.
can't be there. This Saturday, she just kind of magically disappears and then pops back into the story whenever she returns.
a lot of that hand waving, yeah.
Yes.
You just have to assume plausible, that maybe they went off on their own little adventure.
Oh, sure.
And they'll come back.
Yes.
And maybe they'll come back at a time that's critical to the plot too. So
Oh,
Yeah.
fun. And as Dungeon Master, we have one more minute for this. As Dungeon Master, your job, tell us about your job, is you kind of help guide the story.
my job is to make them look cool.
Oh.
I'm not their adversary, but I
Yeah.
do play their enemies. I'm not their ally, but I do play their companion sometimes. I'm the referee. I'm the world, I guess. I'm the guy who moves the figurines. We play with figurines sometimes. Just the person there that helps them tell their story to the fullest, basically.
Yeah, you kind of lay down the obstacle. You might say you come to a castle and there is a moat. What do you do?
Yeah. It's if they have an idea that shouldn't work, my job is to help them get to the point where it could, or let them try and fail.
And do you have to know, if you want to sign up to play, do you have to know how to play Dungeons and Dragons to come in?
Absolutely not. I've played for a while now, multiple editions, and with different abled learners. I've got some print offs that help people. Very beginner friendly. It just kind of takes a lot of the math out of it.
And I can attest, when you fall in love with this game, it's a lifelong friendships. It's lifelong, play. My husband has been playing since he was 12, and he is 46, 45, somewhere in the 40s.
Lots of social, emotional benefits.
Yes.
Educators are just kind of now discovering that. And
Critical thinking skills, too, making decisions and being able to. People underestimate this game way too much. This is a wonderful thing. Never worry if your kids get into Dungeons and Dragons.
It can also be for that kid who hasn't really found their thing yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
It could also be that kid's thing.
Right.
Great way to fit into sometimes, because the gameplay allows somebody who's maybe a little more awkward in social situations to really feel like they belong.
Yeah.
I've seen that so many times, and I think it's amazing.
Well,
Quick shout out.
Oh, go
Sorry.
ahead.
No, please.
To the leadership team over at the YMCA, there was a little fourth grader kid who typically was outside of our age range, made an exception. 2019, fast forward, pandemic happens, he's coming back, he's doing his own tables now at my group.
Yeah.
Wouldn't speak, wouldn't come out of his shell. He's now a leader.
That's
so
amazing.
game can be
Yes.
transformative.
It's
for sure.
it's a magical game in magical worlds, but it's magical for some kids.
Yes.
So I am so excited you're doing this.
Yeah, well, I think so. We have, like I said, Saturday, January 27th. We've got it coming up. That is this Saturday, tomorrow. But check our calendar online. We do one a month. They rotate locations 5 to 8 on Saturdays. Also a plug, Great GeekFest. We have multiple tables.
It's coming up. Yep.
Where you can come and sign up that morning, that Saturday, March 9th. And then you can sign up and play all day. And then join Brian's at Strengthening Families at the YMCA. You'll see him all over town. Thank you so much for being our guest, Brian.
Thank you, folks. This was
Thank
fun.
you.
Absolutely. Molly, thank you for being my co-host again.
Love being here.
And Gage, thank you for running the board. As always, until next week, we will see you in the stacks.